friends, it's Kara, aka your Northwestie Bestie. I'm so excited for you to join me on a summer adventure to the northeast corner of the Olympic Peninsula. Port Townsend is a small town that's surrounded by the Salish Sea on 3 sides, so it's kinda like an island. And it's one of only 3 remaining Victorian seaports in the country. Personally, I think it's one of the best small towns in all of Washington. Hello from Fort Worden. We made it to our campsite, and this is where we're going to be staying for the next few days in Port Townsend.
Let's go set up camp. Yeah, I think it's going to be hard.
I messed up my words there. Hard to stake the tent down. I think it's going to be easy. It's going to be easy. Butter. Look at it going in. I guess it's a little bit hard, huh?
Oh, it's hard enough.
Man, the tent stakes keep tripping me up. Oh my gosh, the stake again.
Maybe I'll come my way. We're exploring Artillery Hill, and this section is closed off to cars, so you either have to take the bikes or take a hike.
Part of what makes Fort Worden interesting is the historical elements. Fort was one of 3 used to protect Admiralty Inlet, and this one was created in 1898. Battery Walker, which is the one we're at now, was by far the most used artillery fortification at this park. The forest outside is really pretty. Have some madrone trees and some fir trees. We spotted a cargo ship passing through. This ship channel is really popular for this kind of thing. Probably came from either Seattle or Tacoma.
On Lower Gunline Road, there's some like tunnels.
Oh.
That kind of go underneath some of these.
Oh goodness. Should we check them out?
Yeah, we should.
Whoa, look at the sap coming off these pine cones. Almost looks like ice in the winter. Look at this awesome view. This is the Point Wilson Lighthouse overlook. We've never come up here before, so although we've been to the lighthouse multiple times, this is a new perspective. This is the Memories Vault area with poetry. All through the war to end all war, and through that other bigger one, someone stood just as always before in hope and terror, watching the empty ocean. So at the end of our bike ride, we spotted this huge, beautiful madrone tree and had to come up close to see it. It's just incredible. This is definitely the biggest one. Pacific madrone, I think. Biggest one I have ever seen. It's almost sunset now, and we're hungry for dinner. So we're in downtown Port Townsend, and a lot of restaurants are closed already because it's almost 8. So we're going back to a place that we've been before, and can't wait to eat. Sirens is a waterfront gastropub with cozy indoor seating and gorgeous outdoor seating on a deck. If you tend to eat dinner late, like us, then this is a good option. For food, we opted for pear cider, which was amazing, and we also had burgers, mine being vegetarian. Honestly, these meals were super filling, so next time I think we'll just split a burger. Good morning from Fort Worden. We're just headed to go check in. All checked in. So we actually set an alarm for 5:30 this morning to try and go out and see sunrise, and we made it out there, but it was super cloudy, so we just went to bed for a couple hours and got ready, and now it's 10:30. It's still pretty cloudy, maybe even a little bit foggy, so hopefully that burns off later in the day. Now we're heading into town to grab some coffee from one of my favorite coffee shops in Washington. Situated right on the waterfront, Better Living Through Coffee serves up organic, fair trade, and locally roasted coffee. My favorite of their specialties is homemade salted caramel, so of course I got a salted caramel latte. It's usually pretty busy inside, but there's a cute pocket beach right next door as well as lots of tables. Every time I popped into town, I found myself admiring the beautiful Victorian style architecture. It's just not something you see every day. We just noticed that if you look at all these cars closely, they have like a ton of bird poop on them. There's a lot of seagulls around here and pigeons. It's super foggy here at Fort Worden, but in Port Townsend it's clear and sunny. So we totally lucked out in that today actually happened to be National Lighthouse Day, and that meant that the lighthouse was open, and since it was a weekday, it's normally not. So we went inside, explored, and climbed up to the very top. There's a lot that you can learn about in here. It's sort of like a mini museum, and there's also a pretty good sized selection of souvenirs, so if you know anyone who's into lighthouses or beachy things, this is a good place to stop. Hello from the beautiful beach. The fog has not lifted from this area yet, but it's really nice because it's so cool. And we're headed out on a pretty long beach walk. I estimate that it'll be about 3 miles each way. We'll see how far we can go because we don't want to risk it with the tide coming in. Since we're here at low tide, we thought we'd check out these little tide pool areas, and we found a sea anemone. Blood starfish. Found a tide pool, and there's some rock sculpin fish back there. Bald eagle spotting.
It would be straight.
Making some late lunch, making a quesadilla, and got some Seattle cider.
So we're here exploring the town of Port Townsend, and we're gonna go check out this whale skeleton here in the daylight.
Kyle's picking some berries. Although we spent a lot of time at the beach today, we still wanted to go one more spot, and that was to catch sunset. We've been trying to see sunrise all trip, but just wasn't happening, so instead we opted for sunset at Point Wilson Lighthouse, and it was perfect. Good morning! It's our last morning in Port Townsend. We just packed up our campsite. Now we're gonna go see if the Port Townsend Marine Science Center is open. It's actually right in the park, so let's see. So we actually came 30 minutes early to the Science Center, so we're gonna wait it out at the beach. Right when we entered, we met this young octopus who's 2 years old. He came in on a water sample a couple years ago, and at that time he was only 1 centimeter. I had no idea octopus could even be that small. We learned all about nearshore habitats, and admission was $7 for adults, and that also covers admission to the museum. On our way out, we had a super fun surprise. We got lucky to see 4 river otters playing in the sand. They're just such fascinating creatures to observe. They pretty much never stop moving. And then right across the street, you'll find the Port Townsend Marine Science Museum. You can learn quite a lot about the human impact on the sea, as well as see a full-size orca skeleton, and there's quite a few interactive elements for children. Highly recommend visiting all the branches of the Science Center on your next visit to Port Townsend. Before we hit the road to head home, we wanted to stop and get food at Tommyknockers, which is a British cafe. Our favorite dish was the salmon chowder. It was so good. Afterwards, we did one more walk and we stopped in a couple different stores. I especially enjoyed the bookstore, and then before we headed out, I had to get one more coffee and also that salted caramel to take home with me. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so I can see you in our next adventure in the Pacific Northwest.